Good evening, ladies and germs. This is Duncan the Meek. I have not done a video in some time, about 10 years or so. I wasn't expecting that. I was just going to go live now. I hit the live thing. I thought there was another live button, so I wasn't ready for that. Anyway, I haven't been streamed or anything in some 10 years. You're looking at very rudimentary equipment here. I'm just using a Chromebook. I do have good equipment, and over time I will be doing these videos on proper equipment, but for now, this will do. It'll do for 2 viewers if I get 2. The reason I'm doing this again after so long is that I'm not dating anymore. I'm done with that part of my life, and my toddler's about to start head start this fall. So I have time to kill, and I have idleness to unspent energy, I suppose. And one of the things that I used to like to do was stream. I haven't done it in some time. I lost my interest because of all I was involved in debating too online, and I kind of lost my enthusiasm over the time with all the personalities. What people used to, well, most people do when they try to do these kind of things is they try to make a name for themselves. They're trying to become the next big debater or big podcast guy. And in the process, they try to step on people along the way. They try to have debates with people where they argue with them and try to make them look bad and try to stump them. And then they share the little clip of how clever they were with so-and-so. And I used to do a lot of Christian debates with Christian apologists. And I was finding that I'd have equipment errors. I'd be coming on, and my son liked to use the Oculus Rift. And when I would be ready to stream, there were so many things I had to click on and click off on the computer to get the mic turned on and the camera turned on, turn this on, turn that off. And what would happen a lot of times is that it would look like I had a mic on. I had my nice mic on, but I didn't. I had an Oculus Rift mic on, which is on the floor. And I'm having these debates with these Christians on these Christian vodcasts or podcasts, and they couldn't hear me. They literally couldn't hear me. So, and I watched the video back after it was done. Literally, people can make out maybe 1 out of 20 words that come out of my mouth, but nobody said anything, which I found strange. Well, I don't find it strange. I understand it, but I find it disheartening. And then they would be like, "You so got brutalized, dude. He kicked your ass." Coming from the audience of the Christian, these are the people in the choir that are just using me. This person's trying to debate me to try to make a name for himself, to try to make himself look super smart. I'd be like, what was the thing I said that he debunked? What was the thing I said that he so disproved? Because they didn't hear me. And no one would say, "Hey, Benjamin, we can't hear you. We couldn't hear what you said." They were so disinterested in what I had to say at all that it didn't even matter that nobody could even hear me speak. And since then, my enthusiasm was gone. I was a very polite person to people online until that point. Wanted to have civil discussions. I wasn't about beating anybody in a discussion or trying to make anyone look bad. I was just about having a civil discourse and trying to understand people. But then I would encounter all these just backhanded things like that, that I kind of got disheartened or lost my enthusiasm. But I'm starting up again, and this time I'm a little different. I'm 10 years older, 10 years wiser. And one thing I will not be doing is debating. I don't care what anyone thinks. Well, I care what people think. I don't care what people think about what I think. So I won't be doing any debating. I won't be doing any stream wars where I post something, somebody else posts something about what I said, and then I kind of pick up what they said about me, and I don't care. 9 times out of 10, well, 99 times out of 100, if someone doesn't agree with me after I've expressed myself, the fault is they didn't grasp what I was saying, or they didn't want to grasp what I was saying. When they don't want to grasp what I'm saying, I can't do anything about that. That's their prerogative to not really listen. And if they're not grasping what I'm saying, it's because I'm not explaining it well enough. And in the process of trying to make sense, to try to express myself, express my thoughts in a way that people understand them, it can, if you mix that in with things like trying to debunk other people's beliefs too, that you do in a debate, it's too much to sift through it at once. And I just find that most discussions aren't very productive when you're going back and forth with people. I'd rather just tell you what I think, and that's it. Now, the way I do these debates, these videos, is that I just find stuff on YouTube, find stuff on the internet, crazy things people say, things people share that you'd find on your page, your feed, instead of posting comments online and interacting with people on Facebook or on various discussion groups that you find on the internet. I instead save them in a little folder or save them in a page on my Facebook, post them on my video, and discuss my thoughts about them in that form. Saves me the headache of saying something very astute that's caught in that's kind of lost in the banter of these comment sections, and no one reads them anyway. You get a like or something like that, but. And then it also saves you the headache of trying to go back and forth with some troll and some animal about trying to explain some simple idea to people that just aren't very intelligent. People would save themselves a lot of headache on the internet if they just if they came to understand, as I've come to understand it, that most people are just not smart. I mean, and trying to, like, usually we base arguments, the concept of having debates and things, is all rooted in the premise that the reason people have wrong opinions is because they're ignorant. They're uninformed is usually what we think. And we could deal with misinformation by spreading better information. We don't like the idea that people are wrong because they're not intelligent. We have to remember that 100 is the average human IQ. 50% of human beings are below that. And they're not going to understand most argumentation. So don't waste your fucking time trying to explain things to people that just do not have the intellectual capacity to understand you. It's just, you're just going to be tearing your hair out. But we get sucked into that online a lot. We get sucked into these pointless conversations with people that are just not smart enough to understand simple points. So let me go to one. We're going to do this really sloppy, whatever. This is the first time. I'll get back into the swing of this soon enough. So let's just look at a meme here. This is just how I do things. I just share memes and share my thoughts on them. Here's one that says, Gen X lives in a perpetual state of adolescence. I don't know if that's some kind of joke. I don't get the misspelling of that. Maybe somebody can illuminate me. But what's true, what's interesting is that, see, Generation X is the first video game generation. I mean, technically, we had video games in the 70s. But we're the generation that got hit with the Nintendo boom, where it was the first time that we had video games that rivaled the kind of entertainment you had at the arcade. Until that point, if you wanted to play video games, you went to the arcade. If you wanted to play decent video games, the home video games are crap. Atari was just a piece of shit. People look at it, well, it's nostalgic. I have an Atari. I emulate Atari games sometimes. I'm a retro gamer. And, well, not retro gamer. I'm a vintage gamer. Damn it. I said retro gamer. Fuck. A pet peeve of mine that I violated. I hate it when people call video games, playing old video games, retro gaming. Retro is a modern thing that resembles something old. Vintage is something that's actually old. But people always misuse this term. They call things retro because retro sounds cool. Retro don't sound, vintage doesn't sound like a thing that fits video gaming. Vintage is something you think was some old musty, moth-eaten sweater in some old coat rack. It's a vintage sweater. You don't think of it like a Nintendo or Super Mario Brothers is vintage, but it is. Vintage fixed that term. Vintage is something that's actually old. Retro is something, for instance, like 3D Dot Game Heroes is a retro game. It's a modern game that looks old or is inspired by old gaming. If you go to a costume shop, you'll find a lot of a lot of retro clothing. It's recently made clothing that's made to look old. It's made to look like an old derby or an old suit that someone would wear in the 1940s. Vintage, actually old, retro, modern, that looks old. All right, so I just corrected myself on a pet peeve. But anyway, back to the subject. We're the first Generation X. And I think we'll always defend our own generation over people criticizing it. It's kind of like a go home team sort of mentality. But this isn't really adolescence. I mean, there's going to be a time where they don't really see video gaming as a teenager thing. It already isn't. It's already something that older people do. I remember when I was a kid, though, when one thing people don't realize, so my first son now is 24. And when he was a kid, he would come to me and ask me to help him play video games. And I thought it was just the silliest thing ever. Am I paused? Just being a poop. I thought that was the silliest thing ever because I can imagine any of us as children going up to our dads and saying, "Could you help me play video? Could you help me get through this level? It's too hard." Our dads did not play video games. Our dads chopped wood. Our dads went out and got under the hood of the car and got all sweaty, and then they came in and laid on the couch and watched the Twilight Zone or Discovery Channel, or did crossword puzzles. Our dads did not play games. But we've been playing games as adults, and our children watch us too, and our children play games with us. So we're the first generation where fathers play with sons. And now we're entering a new era where grandfathers are playing with grandsons because of the fact that we're getting older. Generation X I'm 47 years old, and I'm a member of Generation X. But getting to the thing I've been building up to say, they found that playing video games actually is likely to prevent things like dementia and memory issues. What happens when people get older is that they get stuck doing tasks that they're used to doing. So the adulthood has got things that are difficult to do, pay your bills, fix your yard, get the insurance on your car, hope the car don't break down, go to the doctor. Adulthood has obstacles. But over a lifetime, you kind of are dealing with the same obstacles over and over and over and over again. And you get somewhat astute at handling them, but you're not really being challenged. And what video games do is that a video game will give you a unique challenge. It'll give you this unique world that you're unfamiliar with. And you have to learn the rules of it and learn how to navigate it and learn how to do well. And then that's along with the hand-eye coordination and those sorts of things. And so because of that, video games are very good for the brain. And so it's expected that as we get really old, Generation X, when we hit 60s, 70s, we're still going to be playing video games. Well, we'll still be playing GTA at the nursing home, which would be pretty cool, actually. And we're going to be a lot less prone to the sort of mental defects that geriatrics go through, that octogenarians. Am I saying that right? Octogenarians go through. That means you're over 80. We're going to be smart old people because we play video games. And I think that's a pretty cool idea. Let's go to another one here. Sorry, I'm not really. Over time, I'll learn to do this in a way that's a lot smoother. But, just click one video, click another video, start clicking another link, click another link, and you won't really know that I had done that. And now I'm getting some sort of, I'm having slowdown issues for some reason. I think maybe before I did this, I should have reset this crappy little computer. I could stop this video right now and I'd be perfectly fine. I'm already enjoying myself. No one's watching this, but it feels familiar. Feels like putting on an old pair of shoes. String. Just sitting there in front of a camera and just blabbing away. It's relaxing. A lot more relaxing than debating, Waiting's a headache. So here is a post. Stop being a dick to me. I'm on post. The grand relaunch of my streaming career. And it's going to be the worst video ever. But that's okay. That is okay. I give myself permission to make a terrible video. Come on, you crappy freaking fuck. I'm not being weak anymore there. I just lost my temper, kind of, sort of. The most intense you're ever going to see me right there. That little crappy fucking fuck. That was me going off the handle. Or flying off the handle. You go off the deep end, you fly off the handle. We'll continue this next time. So anyway, this is my first video. We'll just say that this is just about telling people that I'm back doing this again. And here at 21 minutes in, I'm having slowdown issues and all kinds of other crap. And so I choose to call it a day. I welcome people to subscribe. I promise this will get better. Click like, subscribe to my channel, and I hope to improve again, get as good as I used to get at this sort of thing.